Okay, so rather than taking you through using the video editor with the projector in lesson, I thought I'd use OBS to take you through the process as quickly as possible, then you can watch it in your own time. So we're going to be looking at adding sound and video into Blender's video sequence editor and some basic, very basic post-production visual effects. So take you through quickly adding video clips, adding audio clips. We'll look at modifiers, which essentially modify, funnily enough, your video strips, so we can use these for color correction. And then we can use adjustment layers. We can attach modifiers to adjustment layers if we want to make color correction only to one portion of that video strip. I'll show you how to add an effect strip, and we'll look at transitions as well. I'll show you where to go to find out more information, because I'm not going to go into it in too much detail. But that's what we're going to do as quickly as possible now. So we'll start off with a new file. So Blender has a video sequence editor, which you can find here. So you can change the timeline to the video sequence editor if you like, or you can just use the video editing workspace here, which makes more sense, although we will need to grab a properties inspector. Okay. And what you'll need is a pre-rendered video file, obviously, and we're going to add that down here. Okay, so this is the main timeline that you're going to be using. So you can go to the add, and we're going to be adding movies, we're going to add sounds, and we can add effect strips here. So I'll talk about these later. First of all, we'll go and find a movie, which is here somewhere, adding sound. Okay, so I've got this pre-rendered animation, add movie strip. So, for whatever reason, I initially rendered that video at 1080 by 1080, so I will need to change that over here in the resolution settings so that this video file resolution matches the file of my pre-rendered movie. And you can see the strip here, and it's only about 120 frames. Now, what I don't like is to see seconds here. You might want to keep that on, but I'd rather just see frames. So it's 122 frames, so I'll set my end frame to 122. And then you can see the video previewing in this window. Okay. So we're going to add some sound. We're going to add some modifiers to adjust the color contrast, and we're going to add a little transition or two. So the first thing we'll do is look at adding some audio. So I've got 3 audio files, I think, that I've already grabbed off the web, and one that I've made myself. So we'll go add, sound, and actually I think I know roughly where. Yes, so the first one, I'm going to place my playhead where I want my first audio clip to appear. It's going to be at the start. It's going to be some background ambient music or some ambient kind of bird song. So I've got that in my folder. So I'll add that. So that extends for much longer than I need it. So I'm going to move my playhead over to the end, and I'm going to select that audio clip and just hit K to cut that. And I'm going to right click on this, and I'm going to delete it. And then I'll just Okay. So the next audio file I want is my scream, and I think it's going to happen around about frame 32. So I'm going to add sound, and I've got this shriek, add sound strip. And now this one is also longer than I require it. Okay, that's pretty disturbing. We only want it to last till about frame 77. So again, I'm going to cut this and delete the portion I don't want. Now, the thing about cutting these strips is that with using the K hotkey, I can actually extend, use this handle here, I'm just right-clicking and hitting G to extend that back out again. It gives me a kind of soft cut. Whereas if you were to choose, if you were to use Shift K, it would give you a hard cut, and you would no longer be able to extend that handle out to get your deleted audio file back. So I'm just using K, it doesn't really matter either way. Now this is very very basic. You know, if you wanted to get into more detail editing your files, you would probably want to use Audacity, which is available on the college system, and then you'd have a bit more control over how you edit it. But I'm just going to make that cut there. Now this is going to get extremely irritating and disturbing. Listen to that file over and over again, but we'll see what we can do. So the next sound file will be some very simple dialogue, which I did record myself. So it's going to start about here. So I'm going to go add sound again and choose what is that?
What is that? What is that?
Okay, and it roughly matches my mouth animation.
What is that?
And that's adding sound. And you can see that, you know, I'm getting 24 frames per second here, so I can, you know, spend a bit of time using the G key to line these sound files up with my video footage, and I'll not have any kind of lag problems when I'm previewing that. So that's pretty handy. You can also turn on the waveform as well, so you can get a bit more. If we go view waveform on, you should be able to zoom in. Is that not working? Show waveforms. Yeah, there it is. It is happening. Oh, here. Waveform drawing. Waveforms on, and you can zoom in and you can have a look at the wave, and that will give you a bit more control again over where you might want to make some cuts in Blender. So if I wanted it to start more accurately here, I could get rid of this portion here where there's no audio. Okay. All right, so the next thing I want to do, because I don't want to spend too long on this, is just add some simple modifiers. So we need to select the video clip itself here in the timeline. And if you don't have the toolbar open here, just hit N to bring this up. And we've got some properties of the strips here, but we also have this modifier tab. So we can add various different strip modifiers. So I'm just going to add a curves and some color balance. So curves is a fairly complicated and advanced method of editing the contrast across a tonal range. So I mean, play about with it yourself and see what you can do, but I just want to brighten up the background there a little bit and kind of pull out the colors a bit more from the tree. So it's a bit dull in the original. I can switch off the modifier with the eye here. It's a little bit dull in the original. Just want to brighten it up a little bit. And this will count as one of your post-production effects. Okay, so that's a little bit happier. And again, you could do some color balance. So we could play about with some of these values. Again, I'm not going to talk too much about what lift, gamma, and gain are, but you can play about with these values until you get something that's nice. But obviously, we do need to justify why. So you need to think about why you might need to change colors for various reasons. So what we've done there is apply modifiers across the whole length of the timeline. I mentioned earlier that we can add an adjustment layer and attach a modifier to an adjustment layer so that we are only affecting one portion of the clip. So we'll just do that quickly. So maybe when the tree screams, we want the screen to go red, so we could use an adjustment layer to do that. So we can add effect strip, adjustment layer, and back up to the modifiers, add strip modifiers. Just use another color contrast here and make the whole thing go red. That should do it, and you can see that's going red there. Now obviously we can also keyframe this. So if I don't want it to go full red from frame 42, I could start here. I can hover over this color wheel and hit I to add a keyframe. Move the playhead forward a little bit. Adjust my color. Insert a keyframe. Insert another keyframe where I want it to start disappearing again. And at the end of that adjustment there, I can take it back to where it was before. Come on. Just hitting I. And then hopefully...
What?
It's fairly crude, but you can see what's happening. I think we might, for the time being, get rid of that. Now, the other thing that I think everyone could benefit from is fading in from black. So I'll show you how to do that very quickly. So to do that, we need to use an effect strip, and we need to use two effect strips. To fade in from a color, we need to first of all add a color. So we need to add this black, and then we need to use a gamma cross effect strip. And we need to select, so this is a color, this is going to be pure black until it gets to here, and then we're going to reveal that to fade in from this to this, we need to use a gamma cross effect. So select this, and we'll select the video strip, because we're going to fade from this to the video strip. Add effect strip, and use gamma cross, and then fades in from black.
What is that?
And we can do exactly the same thing at the end. Fade out to black, add in an effect strip, color, make it black, and this time I'm going to select the video, then the color, and add a gamma cross. And hopefully
That?
fade out to black.
What is that?
And that's pretty much it. The other thing we can look at just very quickly would be a transition. And to do a transition, we need two separate video clips. So you either want to chop up your video strip, or you might have pre-rendered scenes which you can add in. I'll just add in very quickly another movie. I should have something on the desktop. Yeah, we'll go with this. So here we've got another video file. So I can select this one, and then select this one, add in a wipe, for example, and we should transition from this clip to there. So it's as simple as that. Selecting this and coming to the strip properties, you can play about with what type of transition you use. Okay, now obviously it's jumping straight back to the beginning because I've not changed my end frame. Clock wipe, and you've got 2 or 3 different options. Now, obviously there's a lot more I could go into in detail, and you know, if I wanted to go into it in more detail, but I just wanted to give you a very brief overview of how the video sequence editor works in terms of adding in these kinds of transitions and color effects. If you want to find out more about individual effect strips, the Blender manual will explain more about each one. You could Google Blender VSE effect strips and you will find animated masking effects, changing the properties of strips, fading in and out, etc. There are plenty of other resources out there that will go into each one in more detail. But that was just a very quick overview to get you started on your post-production effects. Okay, thank you very much.